September 1944. Allied forces were sweeping across France, and the end of World War II seemed agonizingly close. British Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery proposed a massive, audacious gamble: Operation Market Garden. The goal was to launch the largest airborne assault in history, dropping over 35,000 paratroopers, American, British, and Polish, deep behind German lines in the Netherlands. The mission was twofold. Market, the airborne drop, would seize key bridges over major rivers: Maas, Waal, and Rhine. Garden, the ground assault, would race 80 miles up a single narrow road to link up with the paratroopers. If successful, the Allies would bypass the formidable German Siegfried Line, enter the industrial heartland of Germany, and end the war by Christmas. The fatal flaw was the timing and the arrogance of its architects. Montgomery disregarded crucial intelligence warnings and placed impossible faith in speed. The ground corridor, known as Hell's Highway, was narrow, boggy, and easily cut. The entire operation hinged on speed, and speed was the first thing they lost. The tragedy was predictable. Dutch resistance and Allied aerial reconnaissance reported a terrifying truth. 2 German SS Panzer divisions, fresh, elite, and fully rested, were regrouping directly near the primary target, Arnhem. The crucial photographic evidence and the warnings from intelligence officers, who feared the Germans would use the bridges as a trap, were dismissed or ignored by the highest levels of British command, particularly by General Browning, who famously remarked, "I think we might be going a bridge too far." This was not a military miscalculation. It was a catastrophic intelligence failure driven by hubris. When the American and British paratroopers dropped, expecting light resistance, they landed directly into the jaws of the waiting German tanks and infantry. The initial drops were too far from the bridges, forcing the lightly armed paratroopers to fight a grueling 2-day urban march just to reach their objectives. While the American paratroopers succeeded in taking the lower bridges, Nijmegen, Eindhoven, the British 1st Airborne Division at Arnhem was trapped. They were not fighting demoralized rear-echelon troops. They were fighting the fanatical, experienced SS Panzer Grenadiers. The British force, commanded by Colonel John Frost, successfully seized the northern end of the Arnhem Bridge, but they were almost immediately surrounded. The main British force, bogged down by logistics and fierce German resistance along Hell's Highway, could not break through to reinforce them. The entire Market Garden plan fractured at its most crucial point. For 4 days, the British paratroopers fought house to house against tanks and overwhelming enemy numbers, with dwindling ammunition and zero air support due to poor communication and weather. The battle became a siege, a desperate fight for survival that cost the British almost 8,000 casualties, killed, wounded, or captured. Operation Market Garden was a strategic failure. The Allies had committed over 35,000 elite troops and had suffered nearly 18,000 casualties, Allied total. They failed to secure the Rhine Bridge, allowing the war to drag on for 6 more brutal months. The final uncut lesson of Market Garden is not about the heroism of the soldiers, which was immense, but about the arrogance of command. It was a plan built on wishful thinking, ignoring clear intelligence and underestimating the enemy. The operation proved that even the largest, most technologically advanced army can be crippled by a single, catastrophic error in judgment at the top. The sacrifice of the airborne forces was profound, but the failure exposed the dangerous personal rivalry between the Allied leaders and ensured that the German war machine, instead of collapsing, was allowed to regroup for the brutal fighting of the winter ahead. This has been War Stories Uncut. Subscribe now and hit the bell.